Time now to talk business with our partners 2 Degrees. The cost of living crisis has spurred the Reserve Bank to pivot and project even lower interest rates ahead if our economy remains weak. Garth, Bray, BusinessDesk with us this morning, as he always is. Garth, good morning.
Good morning, Ryan.
So what reaction have we had so far from the banks, from the markets, the currency?
Yeah, we've all already seen a couple, I think BNZ and Kiwibank shaving 15 and 20 basis points off their variable rates straight off the bat yesterday afternoon. Everyone trying to get in on that party and look like they're getting amongst it and showing a willingness to lend if people start to show a willingness to borrow. And it's probably the absence of that willingness to borrow that's underlying this whole thing. You know, the Reserve Bank Monetary Policy Committee members were saying yesterday, people are spending all their money on butter, basically, on essentials, and that disposable income into essentials is driving away any kind of spark that we might see in our economy. It's causing businesses to be cautious. You and I have been talking about this. Everybody's been feeling it. I kind of feel a little bit like when the Auckland lockdown was underway and Grant Robertson turned up and suddenly realised how bushy-haired we all were. And it's, actually, you guys are doing tough. Maybe we better change things up a little bit. It's like the messages kind of got through, and I think that they've looked at the data carefully and said, hey, we can't do anything about the immediate problem with inflation, but looking through that, we can see we need to provide some stimulus. I mean, the dollar has dropped off, though. It dropped about just over 1% to about 58.30 US overnight. So there's been that reflection, and I think some of those 1 to 2 year debt rates are sort of reflecting where they sort of see things heading to at about 2.5% by the end of the year, that was quite a strong prediction about how bad things are, yeah.
A big signal to us all.
Yeah.
Now, Scott Base, we know we need to do a rebuild, the thing needs a refurb, and we're going to Abu Dhabi for money?
Abu Dhabi in the UAE, yeah. So this is quite a interesting little story. We know that the Scott Base rebuild is way off track, $490-something million rebuild, and they'd spent about 143 of it to no great avail so far. They were going to do modular builds down at the Timaru port, and then someone worked out that shipping all these pre-built places, all the way to the South Pole is probably not a great look. So they've been talking to people all around the place, and with some help from Winston Peters, who signed a memorandum of understanding up there in Abu Dhabi. They have been talking to the local university there and saying, hey, look, we've got a polar research program at your uni. We do polar research down there. How about you chip in? So they've got plans for a $50 million donor raise, and they're basically going around the world, starting with the Gulf states, starting with Abu Dhabi, and saying, hey, fancy chipping in and helping us rebuild Scott Base. It's a pretty interesting manoeuvre, I suppose.
Very ambitious, very unusual, but hey, we'll take it where we can get it.
Why spend our money?
Exactly. Earnings season is hitting rush hour. Sky City is the big one today.
Yeah. And Sky City has been in a trading halt since Tuesday afternoon after a story across the Tasman in the Australian newspaper that apparently they were looking at raising just over $200 million of fresh capital. Basically, they've got debt problems. It looks like we'll see what the books look like if they do report today, but some suggestions that their debt has pushed out another $180 million across the last 6 months. It's getting close to its banking covenants, the levels of debt to equity that it's supposed to maintain. And so it's talking about raising money. But we've got a story today from its major shareholder, Alan Gray, a firm over in Australia, and they own 15%. They're saying, hey, we don't want you to start raising money. That'll dilute our stakes. How about you sell some stuff? How about you sell one of your new Horizon Hotel just up the road there, or car parks or whatever? A couple of $100 million you could raise there rather than diluting our stakes. So pressure on. High stakes at the table.
Yeah, certainly is. Garth, thank you very much for that. Garth Bray, Business Desk, and we talk business every day thanks to our partners 2 Degrees.